First, you may have to expand the sidebar and maybe expand configuration in settings. Choose cloud provider and add cloud provider. Choose Azure, and then firstly we will need the subscription ID. In the Microsoft Azure Portal, you'll be able to click on your relevant subscription, and in Overview, you'll find the subscription ID. You can copy this into place. You can also add an optional provider alias, which will show up for this provider in all UI elements in Prowler. Next, we need to create a service application in order to give us semi-permanent credentials for Prowler to log into your Azure subscription. To do this, we'll go to Microsoft Entra ID, and we will add an app registration. You can give this a friendly name. It doesn't have to be what I type here. Leave all the other settings as defaults and click register. At this point, we will then be given an application client ID, which we need for the Prowler credentials, and a directory tenant ID. An app allows for multiple secrets, enable an aid to rotate them when needed. So we click on client secrets and we add the needed client secret. The default is 6 months. We're going to leave that default, but it can be customized. This will then give us the client secret that we can paste into Prowler. That will only be visible once you click off the client secrets page, although as stated, you can generate more. Finally, before we click complete in Prowler, we'll then need to give the client authentication app that we've just created access to our Azure resources. And we do that by assigning the app to a role, in this case, reader. So we click Add Role Assignment, choose our Prowler app. As this is a demo environment, I have two of the same name, so I'll just select both of them. You would only have one with whatever you've called your new client application. And then we click Review and Assign. This gives the client secret and client ID we've just generated reader access to our subscription. You could add this to multiple subscriptions. Clicking Next will allow us to do a connection test in Prowler, and all being successful, we should see the green connection. At this point, you will get an automatic 24-hour scheduled scan job. Although if you've already onboarded the Azure environment and you want to edit the credentials, say for that 6 months rolling secret, you can also kick off a manual job to test your new credentials, as editing a provider will not generate you a second automatic scan job. For completeness of scanning, we can also create a custom role instead of the reader role that we assigned previously. We do this in IAM under Create Custom Role, and we can base it on Reader by clicking Clone Reader as seen. We then take the reader permissions that we've cloned and we add 2 more permissions. These permissions are not in the reader role by default and guarantee that all current Prowler Azure checks complete successfully. You see that by using add permissions and searching for host list key /action, and secondly, sites config list action will only filter you 1 role for each to make it easy to find. We add them to the existing read permissions and we create that custom role. If you were to do this, you could do this instead of assigning the reader role at all, as it would include the same permissions anyway. And the way it gets assigned to our client application is exactly the same way we assigned reader. So instead of assigning reader using add role assignment, we choose the name of our custom role. And once again, we attach those to the Prowler app. Once permissions and scan is complete, we can then see the findings. Thank you.